You're watching ATN, where we don't do news, we just talk entertainment. Share and subscribe.
So after a long week full of entertainment news, I was able to relax yesterday, enjoy some football, and really collect my thoughts on this clip we saw. While never getting information that is 100% true or accurate can keep us all puzzled and wondering, the positive side of it is that it creates buzz, and it reminds us all of the excitement we have for the upcoming movie. Because after all, that buzz can run dry after a while if we don't hear anything. So this video, a part 1 of 2, we will explore what we know and make the case of why this clip description might be true. But before we begin, hit the subscribe button, be sure to like and share this video as it helps the channel a great deal. Now first off, let's go through the description again, as shared by Gomaru Island. With a somber tone, the footage opens with Alexander Skarsgård, character entering an ominous glacier-like temple. Thunder and lightning crackle and crash across the high heavens above, with the footage now laying sight upon a raging chain-bound King Ghidorah, with the tyrant shown to be bound to the surrounding fortress while also being surrounded by unidentified troops. A voiceover narrates of a great impending war. Footage cuts to a dejected Kyle Chandler, then shifts to the sight of Madison despairing and in tears. The footage then shifts upon a restless ocean coast overcast by a biblical thunderstorm. From the restless ocean, Kong rises from a half-sunken aircraft carrier, and while doing so finds his glare met by Godzilla. A moment passes and then Kong decides to attack. The two titans clash, their battle trampling over a warship scattering troops. Kong exhibits a prowess of agility and speed and lands a square hit onto Godzilla. Godzilla, in feedback to Kong's attack, remains firm and expressively unfazed. In response, Godzilla replies with an attack of his own and sends Kong flying. To be notably clear, to be absolutely crystal clear, this comes from a more detailed description from @TheLordOfSalem and his Monsterverse group. All credits rest with him and his research and their willingness to share. As you can see, quite the description. Let's start with the portion that has everyone doubting this description's legitimacy, including me, which is Ghidorah's return. Now let's begin with the fact that Michael Dougherty did confirm that the end credits scene in Godzilla King of the Monsters would pay off in Godzilla vs. Kong.
In what happens in that post-credit scene, is that something we can anticipate to kind of lead directly into next year's movie? Because I know you have a hand in writing that screenplay as well. Is that kind of the primary thrust of what we should expect, or no?
What you see transpire in the post-credit scene definitely pays off in Godzilla vs. Kong.
So based on this clip, we know that Alan Jonah's purchase of the severed head can deduce two possibilities as to why Ghidorah's back. Scenario 1. He's indeed slowly regenerating from that one head. This could explain why they are able to keep him bound. He's weak, likely not fully regenerated, and by keeping him bound, they can use him as a resource, study him, learn more about him. Scenario 2. The head is indeed dead on arrival, but using his DNA and perhaps the DNA of an animal to fill the gaps, kind of like what they do in Jurassic World and Jurassic Park, they are able to birth a Ghidorah that, while growing, is much smaller and not nearly as strong as a fully grown one. In fact, perhaps this DNA splicing causes this Ghidorah to exhibit a new power. Or they use Titan DNA that they had prior to fill in the gaps for a really messed up version of Ghidorah. The point is, while the idea of Ghidorah being bound sounds impossible, based on what his condition would be at this point in the story, it is feasible. We also know that based on the synopsis of the Godzilla vs. Kong movie, A human conspiracy threatens to wipe out the Titans, both good and bad. Considering Ghidorah's origin and his strength, it would not surprise me if he is the catalyst to a creation that is the harbinger of this conspiracy. Let's also take into account that Alan Jonah having the head has a ripple, or rather domino effect, as Michael Dougherty mentioned in an interview with Collider.
The post-credit scene you alluded to, that is an interesting number that, you know, we can read a lot into, and obviously you can't talk about too much because it's hinting at the future. But I'm assuming that all ties into the lines about him having DNA plans for these creatures.
It ties into so many different things.
Yeah.
You know, the fact that Ghidorah is not of this earth.
Yes.
That he can affect our ecosystems merely by existing, that he's capable of regeneration. I mean, the possibilities with King Ghidorah's severed head are endless. You know, I mean, what happens to the flies that were picking at his flesh? Do you know what I mean? Like it's a giant possible ripple effect or domino effect.
Whether Ghidorah officially comes back or not, he will be the cause for whatever this potential new threat might be. So the idea of Ghidorah returning is not completely inconceivable. And furthermore, the idea of him being weak and able to be bound is also plausible. Now let's move on to the next portion as to why there is a case for this description's legitimacy. The sources. Now I can't speak for the Lord of Salem because I have no clue who he is. As for Gomaru Island, he's hardly ever been wrong. And to be honest, the last mistake I remember him making is when he thought there would be a Red Band trailer for Godzilla King of the Monsters. And that was an error anyone could make, considering that the source was from an official site of Legendary. But it turned out just to be a hidden image that was never meant to be seen on that site. And Gomaru correctly addressed it right away and redacted. So at least one of the two sources has a pretty good track record, which leads me to at least ponder that Gomaru wouldn't report on this if he didn't think it was somewhat legitimate. Now let's talk about this carrier scene. Godzilla and Kong fighting in an ocean, check. Completely possible. Fighting on a carrier? Well, to be fair, this was clarified later and cleaned up by the Lord of Salem via Gomaru Island. So let's play devil's advocate and say they're fighting nearby a sinking aircraft carrier. It is also described by Lord of Salem that there are other warships in the ocean, which makes sense. I mean, an aircraft carrier never sails alone and always has an escort. Lord of Salem mentions the USS Missouri in one of his tweets. Now this can go 50-50. Either he is speaking some legitimacy because the USS Missouri is all over the set via images online, or because of those very images, he knows it's likely key to the movie. But of course, we are playing devil's advocate. Well, this all seems fine. Ocean battle, bunch of ships, one of those ships confirmed to be in the movie via set photos. Kong punches Godzilla, Godzilla doesn't budge, he hits Kong, Kong goes flying. And to top it all off, a photo specifically used on the set indeed shows Kong and Godzilla fighting in what looks to be the water, and hey, there's a ship in front of them, even has troops on it. Seems all good. Finally, we conclude with why this description sounded so jumbled up, messy, and choppy. Well, let's make the case for that. This happened in Russia. Now, the one Salem, I believe if he is not Russian, he's at least from another country. One look at his Twitter and you can see his handle is written in a language I have no clue what it is. So maybe a potential language barrier. Then we look for the fact that we are getting this information a week later. Now, it is possible that because this happened in Russia and that most of our Godzilla community info hunters likely don't speak Russian, let alone search Russian forums or Russian Twitter handles, it could delay this information, I guess. But let's make the case and continue to play devil's advocate and assume that's what happened, for argument's sake. Well, if that reason were true, then it actually makes some sense as to why it sounds so garbled. And with that, this next part will only be on this video but be used to argue for and against this all being true. The unreliability of the human memory. See, according to Art Kahn, who got his PhD in cognitive studies in Duke University, there is a forgetting curve. This study shows that within 1 hour, people have forgotten an average of 50% of information presented to them. Within 24 hours, they forget an average of 70%. And, ready for this? Within a week, they forget on average 90% of what was shown to them or information presented to them. The point being that if it is true that this description is coming from people who saw it a week ago and that the clip is roughly 30 seconds, give or take, and there is a potential language barrier, which I am unsure, I don't know if Eugene at the Lord of Salem is Russian or not, then I can see why this description is an absolute shit show. Anyway, I hope you liked this video. Be sure to check out part 2, the case against this description, which I'm hoping to have up as soon as later tonight, if not early tomorrow. Don't forget to subscribe to ETN and like and share this video as it helps the channel a great deal. This is Rob signing off for ETN, where we don't do news, we just talk entertainment. Take it easy.